Lesson 12. Dealing Procedures and Responsibilities. A fully manned craps table has 3 dealers and a box person. 1. The box person, who is in charge of all aspects of the game. 2. The second base dealer. 3. The third base dealer. And 4. The stick person. The box person. The box person sits in front of the bank, directly across the table from the stick person, on the opposite side of the table. Box person responsibilities are as follows. 1. Guard and watch the bank. 2. Make sure all dealers are taking all losing bets. 3. Make sure all dealers are paying all winning bets, and that the payouts are correct. 4. Make sure all player bets are being booked and set up correctly. 5. Make sure all change to and from the player are paid and correct. The best box person will control the pace of the game, control the players, help out his dealers, and solve any disputes or problems on the game. The box person has the final say regarding all bet payments and has authority over all player action. The base dealers. There are 2 base dealers located on the inside of the table to the left and right of the box person. The second base dealer is located to the left of the stick person, on the opposite side of the table. The third base dealer is located to the right of the stick person, on the opposite side of the table. The base dealer's responsibilities are as follows. 1. Base dealers must book all bets. Booking bets is very important when dealing craps. All player bets must be booked by the dealer repeating the bet out loud. This helps the player relax, knowing the dealer understood and set up the bet correctly. Many times players will change the bet once the dealer repeats the bet out loud. Booking bets helps the box person to evaluate the validity of the bet. If the bet is invalid, the box person can save the dealer time by stopping the bet setup immediately. Booking bets often helps the dealer to discover betting errors. Booking bets also helps the dealer to remember and set up the bet correctly and become familiar with the player's betting habits. Booking bets is the dealer's and the house's best and only defense against false claims later. If bets are not booked by the dealer repeating the bet out loud, both the dealer and the house are left wide open for claims. Base dealers must repeat each player's bets coming in and place them in the proper position on the layout. 2. Base dealer duties include taking and paying all player bets, in addition to making change players need. 3. When a point number is established, base dealers must turn the puck on marking the point number. After a decision roll, base dealers must unmark the point number by turning the puck off prior to the new come-out roll. 4. Dealers must watch the game at all times, keeping track of the dice and watching for betting errors. For example, max odds, no odds, minimum bet, illegal bets, incorrect totals for requested bets, to name a few. 5. Dealers must pay close attention and be aware of who's who when come bets and DC bets are put on the layout. This will help the dealer place the bets in the proper position when moving to the number rolled. This will help avoid false claims by players, or more often, just a confused player who thought they bet but actually forgot. Dealers should, when possible, immediately pick up and book all player lays and odds. For example, laying 62 from stick. Or odds looks like 20 next to base. 6. Dealers must always announce check change before bringing checks in for change. 7. Dealers must use the hand nearest the box person or bank when taking checks from or putting checks into the bank. Only full stacks of checks should be taken from or put into the bank. 8. Dealer should never reach into the bank to take or return $100 checks or higher without the box person's consent. 9. Dealers must check all player odds and lays to make sure these bets do not exceed the maximum odds or lays. 10. Dealer must cut out all payouts and change in the come area of the layout and place all payouts and change in front of the player in the non-betting area. All checks must be heeled off to denote no action. 11. Dealers must reset all bets hit by the dice prior to taking or paying bets. 12. Dealers must always allow the stick person to retrieve the dice before taking or paying bets. 13. Dealers must help the stick person by booking proposition bets when the stick person is watching the dice. Dealers must also double book prop bets by repeating the bets after the stick person books them, and vice versa. 14. Dealers must never pass off proposition bet payouts until instructed to do so by the stick person. 15. If the shooter is on the base dealer's side of the table, the base dealer must watch the shooter's hands on the follow-through to ensure both dice have been thrown and the shooter's hands are clear. If the dice land on the base dealer's side of the layout, the dealer must always total the dice to confirm the stick person's call is correct. 16. Dealers should always be watching their side of the layout and never be looking at the other end of the layout when the dice land. This is called hawking the dice and is not allowed. 17. Dealers must never leave the table before completing all work for the previous roll, or when the dice are not in the box position, in the middle of the table. 18. In addition, dealers must follow all the taking and paying sequence procedures outlined in the dealer stick calls. The stick person. The stick person's responsibilities are as follows. 1. Before the stick person sends the dice out, it's his job to advertise or sell proposition bets to the players. This is usually done with a stick person's rap or bartering. For example, a stick person's rap might be as follows. See Annie's horns, highs, lows, yo, sevens, 11s, craps, world bet, get em now while dice are in the box. 2. The stick person must allow players extra time to place bets, both before and after the come-out roll. 3. Before sending the dice out, the stick person is responsible for booking and setting up all player proposition bets in relation to the player's position at the table. After the dice are out, booking is allowed, but setup, if required, must be done after the roll. 4. The stick person is responsible for all hard-way bets that are off, except on the come-out roll. If a player calls their hard-way bets off or on, the stick person must mark the hard-ways by placing an on button or an off button on the hard-way bet nearest the box person. 5. Prior to sending the dice to the shooter, the stick person must make sure that all work is completed on both ends of the layout. Check to ensure the shooter has a minimum pass line or don't pass bet. Will always announce coming out on come-out rolls to alert players and dealers that the new round of craps is beginning, or will announce dice are out, point is, and the point number. When the shooter is making a don't pass bet, the stick person must announce prior to sending out the dice, shooting from the don'ts, allowing players to adjust their bets. 6. The stick person must offer every new shooter a complete set of 5 dice for selection. The stick person must make sure the shooter selects only 2 dice, handles the dice using only one hand, keeps the dice over the table at all times, throws the dice properly to the opposite side of the table, so the dice bounce off the end of the table. The stick person offers the dice starting with the first player to the left of the third base dealer, and continuing clockwise around the table. 7. Once the dice are out, it is the stick person's job to guard and watch the dice at all times. If dealers lose sight of the dice, if the dice leave the table, if there is any questions about defects or origin of the dice, or whenever requested by the box person, the stick person must bring in the dice immediately to be checked by the box person. The stick person must present the dice for inspection in the dice bowl. 8. After every come-out roll, the stick person must bring the dice to the center of the layout and turn them twice in front of the box person, allowing the box person to view opposite sides of the dice in the mirror. 9. The stick person must never return the dice to the shooter on 7 or 11 or on any craps number 2, 3, or 12, unless specifically requested by the shooter. The 7, 11, 2, 3, and 12 are called natural numbers. 10. The stick person is in charge of sending the dice to the shooter and returning the dice to the center of the layout after every roll. The stick person should always bring the dice in around the outside of the layout. 11. The stick person is responsible for calling out the dice roll results or calling no roll in the cases where the dice or die ends up on top of the bank, on top of the rail, off the table, or any other situation where both dice don't land on the opposite side of the table after the roll. If a die is shot off the table, the stick person must immediately dump the bowl and offer the remaining dice to the shooter, unless the shooter immediately requests the same dice. Request for the same dice will be honored unless the die is lost, causing an unreasonable delay of the game. Also, the die must be checked by the box person before being put back into play. The stick person must call all dice rolls loud and clear. For example, let's say it's the come-out roll, and 9 is rolled. The stick person calls out loud and clear, 9, center field 9, mark the 9. If the stick person's view of the dice is obstructed, he will call out loud and clear, call it, and the base dealer or box person will make the call. 12. After the come-out roll, it's the stick person's job to check and make sure the puck is turned on, marking the correct point number on both sides of the layout. 13. After the dice are rolled and returned to the center of the layout, the first thing the stick person must do is to take down all losing proposition bets that don't have an associated winning proposition bet for the player. If the player has winning and losing prop bets, all prop bets for that player remain on the layout. The amount of losing prop bets for a player is deducted from the amount of winning prop bets before payout, and all prop bets are automatically up again for another roll, unless instructed otherwise by the player. 14. Next, the stick person's job is to watch whatever side of the table that the dice land. The stick person must monitor the base dealer's payouts to ensure all bets are being taken and paid accurately, and watch for players that might slip in bets while the base dealer is busy. The stick person must give special attention to players next to stick because these positions are the most susceptible to pass posters. 15. Once the base dealers are done taking and paying, the stick person must calculate all winning proposition bets and instruct the base dealers who to pay for winning proposition bets, indicating which player by placing the stick on the layout next to the player and announcing the amount to pay for what winning bet and amount. For example, $45 for $5 heart 8, or $57 for $5 horn high 2. These bets are paid from base to stick, starting on the side of the table where the dice landed. 16. On a 7-out 7, the stick person will immediately dump the dice bowl. After every roll, the stick person will remove all losing proposition bets with both hands, and never wait for the player to return on the bet. Once the base dealers are done taking and paying, it's the stick person's job to check and make sure the puck is turned off on both sides of the layout. 17. The stick person controls the pace of the game, unless otherwise instructed by the box person. It is the stick person's job to move the game along as quickly as possible and get as many rolls in as possible, consistent with the action on the table and ability of the base dealers. 18. When the stick person is tapped off the game by the relief dealer, the stick person must remain on the game until the dice are returned to the box position in the center of the layout and all work for the current roll has been completed. Before leaving the game, the stick person must also identify the shooter for the relief dealer by tapping the stick in front of the shooter and relay the shooter's position at the table along with any other related game information. The stick person must also clear his hands, palms up, for the box person prior to leaving the game.